Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Quest Found Reader. Guys, I'm so glad you decided to join us on this episode. I look forward to telling you about this kick ass book that I just finished reading. Many of you have read it. I know it. Many of you love it. Many of you can't get enough of this series. It is my introduction to this author, or at least my first full introduction to this author. And this is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Now, if you follow me on Goodreads, you know that this is a book I've been reading for a few days. And boy, oh boy, I can't wait to give you a short taste of the Cosmere. Um, like I said, this is my first book that I've read of the Cosmere. I couldn't finish Mistborn when I started trying to read it originally. I wasn't feeling it. And you know that I am kind of like a mood reader. Don't say it out loud, but kind of like a mood reader. Um, and yeah, for me, it just wasn't. I wasn't feeling it. So I decided to give this a shot because everybody was saying that it was so much better and yada yada. So I was like, all right, let's go. Let's go find out. And man, I absolutely loved this book. I I I love starting from the prologue all the way to the epilogue. I loved every single part. I thought it was so clever. I loved how you have this. I'm going to tell you what I think first, and then I'm going to go into detail on the characters. The things that I liked about the book the most are you have so many point of views in this huge world, and all these point of views are so far apart, and toward the end of the book they all start gravitating toward one specific area. I'm not going to ruin what area that is for you in case you haven't read the book by now, but if you haven't and you're even later on the bandwagon than I am. Um, anyway, let's I love the fantastical elements, right? I love shard plates, shard weapons. I thought they were so cool. It reminds me of like the Knight Templars from like Arthurian tales that I used to watch when I was a kid with my dad. I absolutely love that. I think it's such a cool thing. It reminds me of good times in my life. So I very much bonded with these characters that had these kind of weapons. Not only that, I found the ability to manipulate matter, like the Fabrials do, were cool. I love the beasts, the chasm fiends, and all these other creatures that are shown in this book. I think they do a great depiction of what a creepy, otherworldly thing that's trying to kill you is, but at the same time, it's part of this world, so it's not really otherworldly. I thought that was great. I really did absolutely love it. Another thing I loved about this book, and there's a lot of things I loved about this book, is the way Brandon Sanderson writes the story. Now, it isn't complex to read this, and the magic system sounds very cool, even though I feel like we haven't really dove into the magic system much in this first book. I love surprisingly high storms. I think they're kind of cool. They're destructive, but at the same time, they imbue power. And I think that that's really cool. The whole recharging of the spheres in the storms and all that good stuff. I think that's super cool. I want to talk to you about characters. There's a lot of main characters, a lot of multiple POVs, but I want to talk to you about a few that are my favorite. And I think number one is Kaladin Stormblessed. Now, Kaladin was this very fortunate, I want to say, um, person in the military who inspired other men, and by some turn of events, finds himself being a bridgeman, which is probably the worst job you could have, which is literally carrying a bridge because the bridges are portable through these chasms, or like these like cuts into the ground that are like 40 feet deep and very wide, so that armies can go over it. Now, part of being a bridgeman means dying, and means that you're very replaceable because the enemies will always be shooting at you to knock over the bridges. And it takes about 25 to 30 men to carry one of these bridges, just so you understand how big and heavy they are. And Kaladin is special. I'm not going to tell you why he's special. You find that out later on in the book. But he is very, very special. And you see that as the story progresses. Not only is he special because of what he can physically do, but he's special because of his attitude. Now, Kaladin is I feel like I relate myself with Kaladin because had I experienced what he went through, I think I would have done the same things he had. He was in a very depressed and shallow area in his life because of deaths that he couldn't stop from happening. And this book really talks a lot about death and a lot about how people feel because of that. So a very emotional book if you think about it. My next favorite character, and these two, Kaladin and this other character, are tied in first place, is Dalinar. Now, Dalinar is through and through a man of honor. And what is honor? Well, that's a great question. I don't think he says what honor is, but I think he shows what honor is in the way that he portrays himself. He doesn't, he lives under the assumption that if you live in honor, then honor will be given to you, will be awarded to you as a reward for you being an honorable person. And I love that because I thought, yeah, that's what I think too. Be a good person. This book kind of subtly tells you what a good person is and what a crappy person is, right? But it definitely tells you, listen, if you want to be a good person, this is how you should live your life. And and these are things you should do. Like, don't hurt others. Don't Dalinar, by the way, I should have said this at first, is a high prince, and this society has like a caste system. Think of it that way. People with light eyes are viewed as more powerful, and then there's a caste system within that. And people with dark eyes are lesser than them. Now, Dalinar is a light eyes, and Kalinar is a dark eye. So whenever you acquire also a shard plate or weapon, your eyes turn light, no matter what happens. So that was a side note. Back to Dalinar. Dalinar being a high prince, he's one of the highest ranks, second only to the king, um, as well as all the other high princes. There's a few of them. There's like 9 or 10 of them, and he's also the king's uncle. So he's pretty much that's top on the top when it comes to important after the king. But unlike all the other high princes and all these scumbags who think they're better just because they were born, with luxuries that others don't, this man cares. He cares for his people. He cares for those under him. He's a commander. He is a warlord. You could think of him as. He is an expert fighting machine. He has a full shard plate, and he has a shard weapon. Who he call it's called Oathbringer, if I'm not mistaken. And he is an honorable man. He lives in a way where he wouldn't do something that he would send his men to do, or rather, he wouldn't send his men to do something that he himself wouldn't do. Is what I meant. Got that mixed up. Anyway, so I respect and I admire Dalinar. I really do because he portrays this person who is just in a very unjust system. And that's the hope that a lot of people have in this book, right? It's I want to go fight for the king because there are just commanders, people who are good, fighting. It won't just be meaningless fights. I don't want to tell you why there's a huge war in this world. I don't. But you should read this book. You really should. And my last character that I want to talk about is Wit. Now, the king has a wit, and that wit is, think of like a clown, like a jester, whose job is to make witty comments or remarks about everybody else. So that because the king himself can't do that since he's a king and he has to be regal. Now, the wit, whose real name we don't know, is a very wise person. And this particular wit is, um, he's very mysterious, but he knows a lot of things that he shouldn't know. And toward the end of the book, if you read the epilogue, you see really how intelligent this guy is. Now, the wit is, I think, down to his core, from what I've read so far, a decent person. He warns Dalinar of certain things, which help preserve him, if I guess you could say. With that said, there are many other characters that play key roles in what's happening around the world. This whole chaos started because of the death of the former king's father, who was assassinated, and the blame falls on other people. And it sprouts this war between these two groups, of human and Parshendi, um, who are different from humans, and it's been going on for 6 years. It's just pure chaos. Now Danaher wants to end this war and go take care of Alethkar, their home. Maybe that's how you say it. I don't know. Their hometown. or their kingdom, and he wants to solidify this and bring everybody together. Why? Because he's having visions every time there's a high storm. Think of a high storm like a hurricane that happens constantly, every so often, and he's having these visions of the past, and they're shaking him to his core because he's not sure if he's going crazy or if the Almighty, the Storm Father, right, is giving him these signs. Toward the end of the book, you realize just how crazy in magnitude these visions get. And you are thrown into a world where you think you know what's happening, and surprise, you have no idea what the hell is going on. Um, Man, it's hard talking about this book without giving away too many spoilers, but I don't want to give spoilers. I want you to go. I knew very little of this book going into it, and that's what I loved about it. Usually I'll read a book and I'll research, and then I'll be like, okay, this sounds like something I'll read, but I didn't for this book, and I'm so happy that I didn't, because I ended up loving it even more because of that. So that's what I want for you guys. This is a 5 out of 5. Go read this book. Go read the Stormlight Archives. Funny enough, The Way of Kings is a book within the book. So it is a book that Dalinar's brother, who was the king, Gavilar, read, and it was a book of the life of another king millennia before him, who was wise and who dictated, uh, not dictated, who decided to write down the way in which society should work, the way that kings should behave. An ideal world where kings were not greedy, selfish people, but they came together for the good of people and avoided war. I Ooh, that sounds okay. I really think that you guys should read this. I think you guys will absolutely love it. I think if you don't like this, message me and we'll fight about it. All right, I will have a flat out discussion with you guys. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've rambled enough. I appreciate you guys sticking through to the end of this video. I hope you give this a shot. If you do, let me know what you guys think on it. Let me know what you guys think of the page. We're growing. We have more books. I need to go on a book haul. I need to buy all these books, but books are expensive. If you want to send some my way, feel free to let me know. I'm always open to suggestions, and I'll read. At least I'll give a shot to any book you guys send me. Thanks again, guys, for all you do. I appreciate every single one of you. We are in the 120-ish followers, and that's good. I like our little community. I hope we grow so that we can reach more people. For that, I ask you to like, comment, and subscribe so you guys can watch the videos. A lot of these views are from people that are not subscribers, so I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribed. It will also eventually help us get monetized at some point, which then I can make some money to buy more books. So it's a win-win for all of us. Anyway, thanks, guys, for watching. I'll catch you all on the next one. Take care.